I mean, wicked can just be more than just a word, a descriptor word. Like it can be an actual
adjective.
noun.
Barding. Ah.
These
I don't know
things.
any of these things besides
How
Bree's
do you,
hockey
how do you?
journey.
We got our first hater the other day.
Shout out to my dad.
That made me mad. Now I'm triggered.
Oh, and god damn it. What a pro wants. What a pro wants. What is this episode 95 or was that last week?
I think we're on 96.
Yeah, I think we are too.
96.
Had to make sure.
Did you just make sure already? Or are you
I guess
basing-
asking
I just,
you.
I
I just checked.
Oh, okay.
It's 96. 95 is Happy Birthday, Owen.
Yeah,
Good.
there it is. Did you like the thumbnail?
I asked him about it and he did say he liked it. So, or well, actually, I didn't ask him about that. I just asked him if he saw the title, and
Yeah, I
he
did
said
too.
he said yes. So
It just felt weird that it's called Happy Birthday, Owen, and yet, other than Owen's birthday slightly mentioned, it has nothing to do with Owen.
it's just a tribute.
Or he's not even in the episode.
It was
No,
to
you
get the
just,
extra view from his grandma.
Yeah, which
You just
Yeah,
say, I think 3/4 of the way, maybe we call this episode Happy Birthday, Owen.
and maybe we post it on his actual birthday, which we did. So
Yep.
that's all you need, I guess. But I guess let's jump into episode 96. Forget about that birthday thing. That's done. We're talking about episode 96 of the Bread Loves Hockey podcast, and we are discussing the Stanley Cup final once again, and this is a very familiar matchup because we just had the same matchup last year. We are recording on Tuesday, so tomorrow is game one, and so we're trying to get all of our predictions and all that good stuff in before games have gotten underway. We will be posting afterwards, of course, but that's par for the course.
Hey everyone, Breland Hart here. Just sending in my video for the finals for the playoffs, and I am rooting for the Edmonton Oilers. Woo! Let's go Oilers!
And Gifford's here too.
Here.
Thank you, Dean. I was trying to find a way to segue back because I kind of skipped it, and I was like, nope, I didn't find it. So, Gifford, welcome back. A bit of a hiatus. I think you said what, 3 months ago, approximately, if you count the hockey trip video.
Yeah, so this is it was episode 79, and it was right before before Utah even had a name, right? So
That's crazy.
so it's a ways back, but happy to be here again.
We always appreciate the graphics that you provide and the overlays. We're gonna have to start brainstorming season 3 overlays now too, because the season ends once the cup is awarded. Well, after the episode where we discuss that. So yeah, we are coming down towards the finale here for season 2.
Yeah, maybe I'll finally have time to figure out what we're gonna do for Dean's Den.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, we
right.
got the song now at least.
We do have the song
Yeah,
on lock.
But we need a separate graphic.
We
We'll have to
need
figure
something
that out.
like that.
And we're only 30 subscribers away, and we got 17 days if it goes to Game 7. So
All
so
right.
2 more episodes.
I think that's pretty doable. So yeah, we'll throw a early plug to comment, subscribe, share with your friends, please, and hopefully let's get that 100 number. It's the hardest number to reach until 1,000, I guess, is the next benchmark. So
The million's easy.
yeah, I mean after that it's pretty smooth sailing. We'll
It's
really just get the
exponential.
ball rolling. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice, huh?
Yeah. So last episode we had our predictions. I know it was Game 5 of the Carolina versus Florida series happening, and Carolina was winning, and Brendan was brave enough to predict Florida to win that game and come back and win, and he was right. So I had
Sadly.
Panthers in 6, you had Panthers in 5. We both had Oilers in 6, but they won in 5 as well. And then for the Cup, I have Panthers in 7 again. You have Oilers in 6. Gifford, what do you have?
I'm gonna say Panthers in 6.
All right. I was just looking, and Edmonton is the favorite to win the
Oh.
Cup, but It's much. I mean, it's so close. It's probably just they have home ice. So like, if you get an extra home game, then like if you're favored at each home game, then it works out to that. Like it's probably a 50-50
Yeah.
split basically every game.
And they get the
feel like
game
Minus
7,
the-
of course.
Home ice advantage, yeah. And I mean, they've been good at home, so maybe that's what they need this year. Because last year they did not have that.
Dean, do you know
Yeah, in every
the
round.
last Canadian team to have home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup final?
I don't know, Montreal.
It's relevant for a team that you root for.
How is it relevant for the Bruins?
Because they played against the Bruins in 2011.
Vancouver.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
it's been a bit ago, but yeah, they did have home ice in Game 7, and it was
Didn't
not
matter.
it was not helpful, and probably hurt them quite a bit after they went down pretty quickly. So hopefully Edmonton, doesn't follow suit. At least that's what I'm rooting for. I think all three of us are. Well, actually, no. Gifford is probably not rooting for Edmonton. So, but we have our predictions in.
I'm not rooting for either team.
Do you also hate the Panthers, or not as much because you're a West Coast fan?
So I don't really hate the Panthers. It's just I like parity in the league. I like
Sure.
seeing new teams win.
So you hate this finals.
But I do not. Yeah, I do not like this finals at all. Out of the final 4 teams, I wanted the Canes to come through. I'm actually kind of surprised that the Oilers are favored in this series. Like, I think they're good, but I mean, the Panthers are better in my opinion. And I've kind of said it from the very beginning of the season that like Stuart Skinner is, well, after he got pulled and then he got brought back in to being the starter. I was saying at some point, the normal Stuart Skinner is going to show back up. It's going to show back up. He didn't show up in the Vegas series. He didn't show up in the Stars series. So it's got to happen here in the finals.
It's possible. Money Puck has Florida as the favorites, but betting odds have Edmonton.
Okay.
Who do you trust? The
Yeah,
gamblers
I just
or the
need-
statisticians? Who's to say?
It's funny. Even Edmonton has a 0.7% edge to win in Game 7, though.
That means a whole lot. I mean, wow, that's pretty razor.
I don't know how the stats work because in 5, Florida's favored, even though that would be an away game for them too. So
Yeah, that's.
maybe they're thinking Florida wins 3 and then Edmonton wins Game 4, and then it's just the classic gentleman's sweep. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the stats say Florida in 6, so there you go, Gifford.
No, there's that's why I do what I do for work.
Yeah. Gonna say that seems pretty on brand for you.
Exactly.
Go with what the info's telling you. Well, we'll certainly see. I think definitely Dean and I are rooting for Edmonton, where we don't want to see the Panthers win again, and it would be nice to see McDavid and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins, a couple other guys. I guess Corey Perry gets his second one, that type of thing. But I think it would be a more fun story. Obviously, they had the finals lost last year, and history will tell you that in back-to-back matchups, they would be the ones that would come out victorious. So, yeah, we'll see. Very excited though, even though it's the same matchup as last year. Like, at least there's still a good story to root for, which isn't always the case.
The other interesting storyline would be if the Oilers don't get it done again this year, what happens to Connor McDavid? Like,
blow it
that
up.
starts to get, yeah, exactly. It starts to get more interesting. So I kind of like, as much as that sounds terrible to say that you're rooting against a guy, I kind of want to see how that plays out. If he wins, more likely to stay, obviously. But what does
Absolutely.
Connor McDavid look like on a different team? And maybe
He
that's
stays either way.
Maybe that's a team that I root for. Who knows?
There's no way he
not
moves.
Vegas. not Vegas, but I'm talking about like another team that I generally like. Like, what if Connor McDavid goes and plays for the Blue Jackets? Like, could be interesting.
Well, Brendan and I have the bet. I said that it's more likely that Matthews moves than McDavid.
So I guess
Which
it would get me $10 if he moved, if McDavid moved. I
There
mean,
you go.
he's still
There's no
got
way.
one more year. Like he can sign an extension this summer, right? Or is it next summer? I think he's a 2026 UFA, which I believe would mean he would be eligible this season, this
you're right.
July 1st to sign an extension.
Even if they get swept in the finals, they're not going to do anything drastic. I mean, you make it to the finals 2 years in a row, I think you stick basically to the status quo. Maybe get an actual goalie that is consistent, like they should have done this past off season,
Which
but,
was
I mean, it's gotten
crazy.
into the finals again.
I know, it's weird. It's very strange. It's like the signs were right in front of you that this was the major flaw, and then you just run it back and you still make it to the final. It's like it's very
Well,
strange.
they were waiting because maybe Andre will be available this year.
maybe.
That would be something. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to frickin' Edmonton then. Like,
My coach doesn't want me here, clearly.
I'm done losing to these guys in the conference finals. Like, I'd like to actually keep going. Yeah. Well, why don't we? I mean, do you have? There's a lot to say about how Game 5 ended for the Western Conference Finals versus the Eastern Conference. I mean, there was still some intrigue there with the Eastern Conference Finals as far as it being a comeback win for Florida. But once they started coming back, like they got those 3 quick goals. And then all the wind was out of the sails of the Canes, and they kind of just rode that high to the win. But Canes had a chance. They were up again 2-0. Aho, I think, had a couple of goals, but they don't end up doing anything, to get past Florida. So that was disappointing. That they kind of took their foot off the gas. But any other major remarks with that one? I mean, I feel like that it's similar to the Caps Canes series where a lot more interesting stuff was happening out west.
Yeah. Well, now the Canes are 1-16 in their last 3 conference final series, so there you go.
Can't take that one away, baby.
No.
Gifford, anything from you on how that series wrapped up?
Just disappointing, I would say, overall. It kind of what I expected to happen happened, but that's not what I wanted to happen. Carolina seems to just keep getting into the same spot every year, same result. Like they just kind of putter out at the end. And it was kind of interesting because I was watching a Twitch streamer who was in the building for that final game and just kind of watching the crowd around him react as the game progressed was very, very interesting because everyone was like at the highest of highs, like we're in it, we're going to come back, like this is the game that we turn the series around. And then once that first goal came in for the Panthers, it was like everybody becomes extremely skeptical and nervous, and what everybody expected to happen really did, where Florida just really rushes ahead, and then there's it's over before you know it.
I guess one other thing unrelated to the on ice product was the whole handshake line situation with Paul Maurice and Rod Brindamore, where Paul Maurice asked Rod to not have the coaches shake hands with the players. His kind of reasoning being that they didn't play in the game, and that the other players, they don't really want to shake hands with the other team's coaches that they don't even really know. And I don't know. At first, I was kind of understanding what he was talking about. Like, yeah, it's really the players, but at the same time, then you see even Rod Brindamore in this year's series against the Devils, where there were some Carolina Hurricanes, former Hurricanes, on that Devils squad, and they had big moments in the handshake line there, and it just seemed to me like that's not the way that they should go, and I think Ron even said that he's not gonna like continue to do that in the future. He got like a little, just shocked, I guess, because that's what Paul asked him to do, and he just said sure, like I will. They didn't like agree upon it before the series or
Yeah, I was
anything
gonna say,
like
wasn't that like the big thing was that Paul Maurice kind of asked that last minute, but because I think he has Maurice in the past like agreed with coaches or whoever like before a series started, and like, hey, like let's not do the handshake line or whatever, but like, and then sometimes he does, and then so it's kind of like this time just threw it at Brindamore like last second, but I mean, I feel like if you agree ahead of time, then yeah, it's fine if you're both like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but just last minute, it's like, hey, let's not do this, and it's like, okay.
especially when like your team just lost, and yeah, maybe there are some staff members in Florida that have some connections with current Canes players that they would like to say their last remarks. I mean, that's the end of the season for them, so it's, I don't know. I don't think it's something that they should continue. I know it's like they didn't always have the coaches shake hands, but I think the way that the league is now, for how long they've done it like that, it does seem a little bit weird to kind of just go backwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happened. I don't think there should be any huge uproar over it, but I'd imagine that. Well, I don't know if Maurice will shake hands with the players and the Oilers, regardless of the outcome of this series. So I guess we'll keep an eye on it. Haven't heard if he's already talked to Chris Knobloch or anything like that.
Yeah.
Why don't we shift westward with the Game 5 of Dallas and Edmonton? And, I mean, that's a different story right there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Stars would put up more of a fight.
They looked absolutely terrible. They let up 2 easy goals. I don't think they were goals that, like, I would blame on Ottinger. And then DeBoer pulls Ottinger, like, what was it, 12 minutes in or 8 minutes in?
Well, he calls the
like that.
timeout first. They all go to the bench, and then Ottinger's skating back to the crease, and then they're like, nope. Or DeBoer's like,
yeah.
nope.
And
So it's kind of weird the way it happened. Like
Yeah.
he just let them skate back, and he's like, just kidding. And then obviously the comments he had about him after the series ended with like it's not. I'm not gonna say it's Ottinger's fault, but like here's the stats from last series when he was terrible, and he let in the first 2 shots this time. It's like kind of just ripped into him. So,
which I don't understand how you can take that away, that like conclusion away from that game, especially when he barely even got a chance to play in it. Like, you didn't give him an opportunity to do anything else. I don't think DeSmith gives you a better chance to win that game. I know he said he was trying to like, ignite a spark in the group, but then when he didn't come out, like when Ottinger didn't start the second period, I was like, this is freaking weird. Like, why is DeSmith still in the net going into the first intermission? Like, that was your chance to like regroup, and then you're like, okay, Otter, like I know, like you could shake that off, but no, he just kind of let him back up for the rest of the night. He was sitting there right next to Ray Ferraro, basically shellacking the whole Stars organization. Like, yeah, I'm sitting here right next to Ottinger, and it's not going well, and blah blah blah. And like, man, that's gotta be freaking brutal.
yeah, I mean, like the players had Ottinger's back, and it's just I don't know, it's so interesting. Like I joked earlier about trading Ottinger, but like obviously if you're gonna trade one, you're gonna fire DeBoer. Like,
yeah, I think you as an organization, you'd much rather let go of DeBoer while he got you to all of these. What was it, 6 out of 7 years he's been to the conference finals, with different franchises, of course, but he hasn't made it to the Stanley Cup Finals in a while.
hasn't he never lost a Game 7 either?
He's never lost a Game 7, so that's like an asset, I guess, if you if you think that streak will continue. But then he doesn't get you over the hump, and he doesn't know how to really adapt to these high pressure situations in the later rounds. Like, round 1 or round 2, game 7. Like, yeah, whatever. I can take care of it. But then when it gets tough and the other coach and the other team start to figure out how to beat him, they don't really have a way to come back, and then he gets, he does something like emotionally calling that timeout and pulling Ottinger, where really it doesn't make sense to have him, out of the net. Like, you need your scorers to score. Like, Robertson scores early in the second to make it 3-2, because it was 3-1 going into the first intermission. And then it was 3-2. It looked like it was kind of close. Then McDavid scores that crazy goal with the stretch pass. He turns on the boosters and then does a little forehand, backhand, gnarly little goal. I mean, that, I think we said at the time, that's like the quintessential McDavid goal right there. It was an absolute beauty. Saw some analysis too on his like skating in order to make that work, and like doing these crazy crossovers and then immediately turning into these like strong power strokes. And it's like, I don't know obviously a whole lot about skating, but you don't have to know a lot to know that nobody can skate like McDavid. Yeah. So pretty impressive. And then it kind of just snowballed from there.
Well, still they got it to 4-3 because they did score after that. So
I don't remember that goal, honestly.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like every time they started to pull back into reach, the game got out of hand again. One of the things I was going to mention about Ottinger, which I wanted to get your thoughts on, is like, what is your general philosophy on pulling a goalie because of poor performance or for whatever reason? So like Ottinger in that situation, DeBoer says in the post-game press conference, obviously I pulled him to get a spark from the guys. Now, I've heard both sides of it. Some people say you should never pull a goalie to spark the team to get into the game, that it's like you want to go with the goalie who gives you the best chance to win. But then you have the other half that's saying, yes, we need to give the guys a reason to push to another level. And I personally don't believe that I see it often enough that the guys push it to another level, where I feel like that's the right approach, where I think you have to take the guy who's gotten you to that spot, who you can trust more on a day-to-day basis. And then you also have to think through the Smiths going into that game cold, right? So he wasn't in, warm-ups as much, and he's not in the game for that short period of time to start. So, Skinner's more comfortable in his net, and then the Smith gives up that goal almost immediately after he comes in. And it's like, maybe if Andre stays in, does that goal not go through? So I was just wondering what you guys think there overall.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really agree with the whole spark thing either. Like, maybe in a rare situation it could work, but like, I feel like the time I see like pulling the goalie being the best use case is like, you're in the second period, you're down 6-2 or whatever, and it's like a playoff series, and you're like, all right, let's just get him out of there, like get him reset for next game or whatever, like kind of just protecting a goalie in that sense. But like,
not an elimination game.
Not an elimination game, no. But I'm just saying in general, like, or even in the regular season, if you're like we know, like, you haven't been getting the help out there, like you're getting shelled, just like it's for your own benefit that we're taking you out.
Right.
Like, I've seen that happen a lot. Even, I mean, like, there's goalies like Vasilevsky where he's like, no, I don't care what the score is, I want to stay in for the whole game. Like, doesn't matter to me. But I think that's a good use case. And then beyond that, I think, some nights a goalie's just having like a rough time, and maybe the other goalie can play better because goalies are weird. And I mean, we've seen it with Skinner these playoffs, like we've mentioned, like, you're hot and you're cold, and if a goalie's cold to start, then try the other goalie. But because like, if they're starting off that way, that's not normally that they'll be able to kind of turn around within the same game, I feel. So that might be a time to do it. But with like Ottinger, yeah, you let in two goals really quick, but they weren't really on him. So like I would have probably kept him in that case.
Yeah, I think so too, and I mean I feel like the team shouldn't really need a spark when it's an elimination game. Like these guys already know that. They know that they have to be better. They have to score a goal. They have to score multiple goals in order to win this game. All of a sudden, like you need to score 3 goals. You need to stop them from doing anything. You need to completely change your game, and I don't think pulling Ottinger sends the right message for that. It's like, sure, take the timeout. Like I don't have a problem with taking the timeout because they were down early and they were just not generating anything, and they were letting in these massive chances, of course. So I don't think that's a bad idea, but after that, I think pulling the goalie and then the behavior afterwards and trying to justify it doesn't sit right with me. So understandably, Ottinger has been frustrated. I don't think he's said anything publicly about like how he feels about DeBoer. He just felt embarrassed by getting pulled, which, I mean, I think most fans are more embarrassed for DeBoer. So I don't blame Ottinger for feeling that way or for feeling upset, but I guess we'll see if there's any sort of rift here. I know there's one more year on DeBoer's contract, and would Dallas fire him over this? I'm sure some other players are behind Ottinger and kind of disagree with what DeBoer did, and so yeah, we haven't heard anything from that. I know. Even like a day or two after the game, DeBoer had not spoken with Ottinger like one-on-one, which I also thought was alarming, that you still haven't really said anything to him after the way that you treated your starter. That's kind of just, it rubbed me the wrong way.
Did you see on X any of the graphics of Ottinger with the sword through him, like Marc-Andre Fleury?
Yeah.
From a few years ago. It's
I saw those.
DeBoer cannot get himself out of these goalie debacles that happen on his team.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that it's DeBoer again. I did see those. I was like, yep, that's fitting. It's nice to not see Fleury or Vegas being involved this time around. Yeah.
And the other interesting thing that you mentioned was in the post-game press conference, I think, or maybe it was the end-of-season wrap-up, they mentioned how DeBoer keeps getting to the same spot over and over and over again, and then his team just kind of falls apart. And he really didn't have any answer for like why that happens to him. All he just kept saying was the opponents keep getting more difficult and there's less space on the ice, but he didn't really have an answer. And I was like, I want to see him talk a little bit more about, like what you would change or like what didn't go right or how you would do things differently, where it doesn't really, there's not like a lot of future thought in what we're talking about, where like that's what I like so much about Bruce Cassidy with Vegas, is you get to see a lot of that thought process from him. And he's always kind of talking towards the future as to like, here's what we didn't do right, or here's what we have to do differently. So like, I don't see DeBoer lasting too long with Dallas, just based off of these actions, based off of how he's talking in these press conferences.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
A little surprised he hasn't been let go yet, but it's been
until like
what, 6 days.
First period of game 1 tomorrow. Do like the Olmark trade type thing or whatever. What was it last year? Was it something with I feel like the Bruins did something like announced at the start of the Stanley Cup final game or something like. I don't know, but yeah,
there was
the news a little.
Some sort of either an extension for somebody unpopular or weird signing. I can't remember. I know wasn't there like the World Juniors sexual assault trial news came out one
I
day
feel
and then there
the
was
league always tries to do that.
oh yeah,
It's
and
the
then they did
worst.
the expansion letter from who was it? Atlanta or Houston. There was some. Oh no, it was the Utah thing actually with the expressed interest from their club to join the NHL, and it was like, oh guys, look at this, we could get Utah someday, and everyone's like, yeah, we know what the heck you're doing, and it's pretty dastardly. So yeah, I'm sure something like that probably happened last year too. Guess they did a good job because I don't remember it.
I'm trying to see because Allmark was traded on June 24th. And when was Game 7 last year?
Probably around there.
Yeah, pretty close.
June 24th. There you go.
Mm.
So I think it was the start of Game 7. They're like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, so we're gonna let him go. But look, Game 7. Don't pay attention to us Bruins. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a minute or two before puck drop or something, or after, I don't know. But yeah, the timing was obviously planned.
And yeah, that decision might have really cost them too. With the way that they shoehorned themselves with Swayman. But you know what, we'll save that for another time, I think. So I guess previewing the Oilers versus the Panthers. I know I'm the only one picking the Oilers. So what do you guys think?
I guess I want the Oilers, but I'm picking the Panthers.
What do you guys think the Panthers are can do this time around, and why they're stronger?
They've been
and
there
still gonna
before,
win?
Brendan.
Oh,
Well, they've been there and won.
Right. That helps.
I mean, they know how to play in the playoffs and play on the edge of not getting penalties but still being a dirty team, and it's worked for them for however many years now, and they've just refined it. But they also have they don't have the superstars that Edmonton has, but they just have the depth and a lot of very high skilled players still. So it's well rounded and not just full offense. Even the offensive guys are good defensively. I guess McDavid and Draisaitl are as well, but just overall depth, I think, is probably the biggest thing, and more dependable goaltending, as Gifford said earlier.
I'll give you that one. I mean,
Yeah,
Stu's look good, but only over the last small sample size. Let's just ignore round one and.
Well, Pickard's healthy now, I think. So at least they have that worst case.
Yeah. Gifford, you were saying?
No, I think the two biggest things for me, other than goaltending, which I obviously mentioned, is this is just one of those teams that's never out of the fight, and I feel like that's again why I go back to Vegas's Cup run and how much I like that is even though they later on, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals, they were taking the lead early in those games. But earlier in the season or earlier in the playoffs, it was they were never out of a game. You're 2 goals down, whatever. We get back into this. And I think that's the Florida Panthers. They showed that, in the last game of the Hurricane series, is they're never out of it. I feel like the Oilers, I don't feel the same way about. I think they really rely on those early goals or establishing that lead. They've shown it at times. I just don't think to the same level. And then I really just do think that that goaltender difference, Bobrovsky's been there before, and Stuart Skinner's, questionable. And I think that's one of those things where you only need to rattle him once, and then it's in his head for the rest of the series. So can you just get those first couple of goals, get him nervous about how the series is going, then the defense just falls apart right in front of him, and then, the rest is history after that.
Yeah, we always talk about the first road win being pretty critical. So, yeah, Florida comes in to game one tomorrow, and they kind of go up early. They get a couple bad goals, not great goals against for Skinner, and they kind of just maintain that lead and that form for the first game, and it's like, oh man, suddenly you're already kind of questioning things. So yeah, game one will be huge. Getting road wins is always going to be big, especially for Florida, who will need one in order to win the cup. So we'll have to see how Edmonton relies on their home ice advantage, how Canada does trying to will the cup into their country for the first time in a long time. I know Boston Pizza's been doing that whole, like, we're manifesting the cup coming back to Canada this year, and it's fun that they have another chance. And we'll see if it's another devastating loss for Canada and the curse continues, or if the curse is finally lifted and Bettman passes away in his sleep. He doesn't even go out there to award the cup. He's like, nope, that's it. I'm retiring. Bill Daly, take over. But yeah, that's what we got for the finals. Again, game one is tomorrow. All of the games are 8:00 starts, so that's at least nice for knowing when the games are going to be each time. There is some space in between the games, which is kind of a bummer. Like, most of the games have at least 2 days off. Even like a travel day. I think games 4 and 5 is like only 1 day though.
I think 2 to 3 is only 1 day.
Oh, 2 to 3, okay.
Then 3 to 4 is 2 days.
Yeah.
Which isn't a travel day. So yeah, it is weird.
It's because of the NBA finals. They've had the long-standing agreement with the NBA to not have overlapping days, which, we've talked about how much of a overlap there is between the fan bases. I mean, luckily for Gifford, it works out for his Thunder. And, Vegas isn't in, obviously, this time, but you will still be, of course, tuning into the finals. So good for you, I guess.
No, I definitely think it is helpful. I think, there's a lot of general sports fans out there that are just going to put whatever games on that day. So even if you're not like a diehard hockey fans probably aren't watching the NBA and vice versa, but you do have a lot of those middle of the road. Like Trevor actually would be one of those guys that I expect to, be at least tuning in to the majority of both the NBA and the NHL finals.
Especially with Edmonton being in and having probably the most well-known player in the league be in the finals, that should draw in a little bit more of the fringe hockey crowd, which totally excited for that. That's good.
And if people watched Faceoff and got into the sport, they're like, ooh, a rematch from last year. I saw this.
Yep.
We saw the drama.
We do have the official names for who is going to be featured in season 2. I don't have those in here though, but we can get to that in a little bit. Dean, you had a correction on something earlier as far as the dates.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so game 1 and 2 are like, there's a 1 day break between, and then 2 days to game 3, 2 days to game 4, and then just 1 on the travel day to game 5, which is weird. So you were right.
Oh, it was
so 4 to 5 was just a 1 day, and then another 2, and then another 2.
Strange.
So mostly 2 day gaps, except for 1 to 2 and 4 to 5.
Do you want the player list for season 2?
Yeah, I was just looking for it. But go ahead.
Quinn Byfield of the Kings, Crosby of the Penguins, Fleury of the Wild, Harley of the Stars, Seth Jarvis on the Hurricanes, Wyatt Johnston on the Stars, Anze Kopitar on the Kings, Monahan on the Blue Jackets, Nylander on the Maple Leafs,
again,
Mikko Rantanen on the Stars, Shanahan, Brady Tkachuk for the Senators, Matthew Tkachuk for the Panthers, and Werenski for the Blue Jackets.
So there'll be some interesting stories to follow here. I mean, obviously it'll be fun to see Crosby and Fleury, and there'll probably be some interactions there. I know they had some pranks, and this was Fleury's last season, so that'll be a lot of fun to follow that. You've got some other playoff teams here. Harley and Jarvis and Johnston all going to conference finals. You got some older players mixed in here. Obviously, Rantanen will be interesting to watch that whole saga. We'll see how much is included there. Shanahan, especially with being not fired but not renewing his contract. I don't know, how late into the season they've been following him, if the cameras were still rolling when that was going on. But obviously, that will be a unique one. We haven't really seen that sort of play out like in season 1. The Kachuk brothers again. They're actually following Brady this time around, but he was featured last year a little bit because of following Matthew. So yeah, those guys just love the camera. I'm not surprised that they're being featured. And a couple Blue Jackets that's fun too for the outdoor game, and obviously such a crazy season.
Yeah, I wonder if it picks up at the off season or where it starts, because that could be really interesting for the Columbus players.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll at least cover some of the tragedy and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But we've
And
got some
the
time.
Oilers
for that to come
players
out.
were like, "We don't want you in the locker room again."
Yeah. Yeah, Oilers are like, we're not doing this again, especially after capturing, what was it, end of game 3, where McDavid's like, we gotta dig in, and then
Yeah.
and
The
then-
viral moment.
Yeah.
The one that was on all the ads and
it was
whatever.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And then sitting there after game 7, and you see him when they're saying, and the Conn Smythe trophy goes to, and you're like, oh, breaks your heart. Even though you already knew all about it and watched it live, which
But you didn't see the locker room view.
that's true. You didn't get to see that. So that's really what you gain if you've been following the league this season broadly. I mean, I'm sure there's some stuff that you won't know if you don't follow a team. Like, maybe the Hurricanes are kind of a smaller market team. You don't really follow what they're doing, so it might be fun. And Jarvis is a great pick as far as the personality for them too. So he'll be fun. He's always got some great quotes and antics and all that. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. It's not coming out for like 3 months, so we've got plenty of time to digest that. But looking forward to it. Why don't we quickly, since we're talking about playoffs, we've already wrapped up PWHL, but since we touched on them last week, we'll give an update on the Calder Cup and Kelly Cup playoffs for AHL and ECHL. So the Calder Cup is not quite yet to the finals. We've got the Charlotte Checkers with a 3-0 series lead on Laval in the Eastern Conference Finals. And in the West, we have Abbotsford up 2-1 on Texas. So the hockey guys very happy about that series going on, and we'll see what the final matchup is. But the Hershey Bears won't be there, courtesy of the Checkers eliminating them. So they look super strong. But I have not tuned in to any of these games, and I was like, maybe now that there's this like 6 or 7 day break, like I'll catch some of these, but then life kind of gets in the way, and like, anytime I try to tune in is when the game wasn't going on, and then I had other things going when.
Well, how do you know the Checkers look strong if you haven't watched any of it?
I don't really know. I was just making it up. I mean, 3-0 series lead, that's got to tell you something. But as far as the inner workings of the series, I don't have any insight. So sorry if I misled you. I'm looking at the scores here though: 5-1, 5-2, 5-1, and this game is actually, so they're playing right now. 0-0 right now. So that probably won't be wrapped up by the time this is over, but they've scored 5 goals in each game and only allowed 2 for all series.
Okay.
So I would say that's a
I'll
pretty
accept
dominant win.
Yeah, I have it 2-2 right now with 3 minutes left in the second.
Oh, well,
So,
then I guess
close
the
game.
website is not up to date. Yep, there we go. Now I got it. Cool. So that series might be over today. And then I don't know. Well, it looks like tomorrow is game 4 for Abbotsford and Texas. Might be tough to draw a ton of viewers for that one, though, with
Yeah.
game 1 of the Cup final starting at the same time. And then we got the Kelly Cup finals, so those are underway. We previewed the matchup last week, Toledo Walleye versus Trois Rivières Lyon or Lions. I'm just going to stick with one. I kept bouncing back and forth. I feel like I'm just going to go with Lions since I'm an American. Trois Rivières is enough French for me. But that series...
Three River Lions.
Three River, yeah, that might make their blood boil a little bit. But the series is tied 1-1. Toledo wins a 3-1 win in game 1, and then Trois Rivières with a 5-1 win in game 2 as they head back to Canada for game 3. So Toledo with home ice advantage, and that game 3 is also tomorrow at 7. So if you don't feel like watching the Stanley Cup final, you've got 2 other leagues to tune into that night. So I don't know the history for these franchises, like if they've ever won the Kelly Cup or if they've even made the finals before. I have not prepared for that, so I can't give you anything juicy there. I don't even know if there are any like former NHLers on some of these clubs, because sometimes that does happen. You get a couple guys that made it to the show briefly.
Well, I can tell you for
doesn't
Trois
always
Rivières, it would be this was their first division title ever and their first conference title ever. So they have not even seen the finals, nonetheless won them.
Oh, well, there you go. Good for them.
And we'll see what the Walleye look like.
And I do know the London Knights, who won the OHL, have certainly won before for the Memorial Cup.
Didn't they win last year too?
I think so. This says claims 3rd Memorial Cup title. So I don't know when they got their other 2, but one feels like it was definitely recently.
Yeah, I feel like it was last year, but
Memorial
I don't know.
Cup winners list.
So for the Walleye, I have 7 division titles, 3 conference titles, and again, same thing. So they've made it 3 times and never secured the bag. So we are going to have a new Kelly Cup winner, or first-time winner this year.
Well, that's cool, at least. Something a little different other than Florida wins their 4th straight title.
Yep.
Would be nice to see the Thunder representing the Atlantic one of these times, but
Yeah,
not
so
this
that's
year.
why I got to root for the Walleye, just
Yeah.
so that you don't have a division rival winning the cup.
I like their logo more than the Lions with the Fleur de lis. I mean, it's kind of clever, but it's just not really for me. So yeah, I'll go with go Walleye, I guess. Woo!
The London Knights lost last year in the finals.
Mm.
They won in 2016 and 2005.
Oh. Who did they
Last one.
lose to last year?
Saginaw Spirit.
Oh yeah, the Spirit.
4-3.
I remember covering that now. Now that I think
Game
about it.
7.
Game 7, nice. So there we go. That's pretty much all the North American leagues going on.
Yeah.
I think, what was it? SPHL is probably underway now, wrapped up now. Was that the league with the Havoc Foster is like a fan of them. I can't remember.
So I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, that's okay.
What about the league that never existed? The
Major
the one
League
that was
Hockey?
in the work- Yes. What about that one?
Disbanded.
I was checking in for a while until they said it wasn't happening, and then I stopped checking. But the website's probably still up.
You think?
I bet it is.
Probably just to
You can
say
still buy.
it's
I
not
can
real.
still buy merch. The website is still. Oh, now the website just says coming soon. That's the whole website.
All
Hey, it
right.
says 2025, 2026. So
You can
there's
choose
still
between
hope.
English and French.
Change to
In French it says future.
Future. Well, that's exciting. Keep the dream alive for Major League Hockey, I guess.
This year for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We've already drafted the players, so don't worry about that. We've got that taken care of. The players are like, what? I don't remember being drafted. It wasn't really
Oh,
up
and as
to
far
you.
as like future league news, I guess there were talks on like, well, Elliot had been following this up about Gary Bettman saying he was trying to get like the CBA done before the start of the finals, but I guess that's not happening because he was like really confident that normally it goes to the down to the wire, right? But like they were confident that this year they could get it done ahead of time, which I mean they still can, but it just won't be done this early, it seems.
Yeah, I mean they still got plenty of time. That the following season is when it expires. So
Yeah. It'd be
mean,
cool to have it locked in.
it
I
would
guess.
be nice to know ahead of time, and then of course that the teams will get an advantage knowing ahead of time what to prepare for the upcoming CBA. So it will be nice, and I'd imagine sometime this off season we will get the announcement that the CBA has been agreed upon. But yeah, all right, good to know that it's not imminent and that we're not going to hear about it tomorrow morning or anything like that.
Yeah. We're supposed to hear about the Bruins coach by now.
I know.
Think Elliot Friedman was like, probably going to happen over the weekend. And then same with Seattle, which we did get for Seattle, but still waiting on Boston.
Well, I heard for Boston it was 2 finalists. I heard they were down to 2 finalists, but I didn't see who the 2 finalists were. Do you know who they are?
I don't know who the other one is, but it's I always forget his name.
Marco Sturm.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his last name. Marco Sturm and maybe Mitch Love, but they did officially say on Monday, I think yesterday actually, that Joe Sacco will not be the coach. So
Not Joe
took them this
Sacco.
long,
They're
but
like,
that's
look,
good.
let's just at least give you something. Sacco's not coming back. Bruins fans are like,
Yeah.
all right, we got something. Just as long as we're clear. Yeah, well, we figured it would be Marco Sturm. We'd be saying this week, yep, we got the announcement, and here we go.
It got leaked that he was officially hired, and like even like Sports Illustrated ran with this. And
Oh,
they're like,
really?
no, that's not true. So like, I think they did that before hiring. I forget, maybe Cassidy or I don't know.
William.
They like before hiring one of their coaches, they like put out some other name, and then like
Just to gauge
Then-
the waters a
yeah,
little
which
bit.
is like, I mean, you shouldn't let your fans decide on who the coach should be, but like maybe they're doing something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, maybe
You
with
wanna give-
Montgomery, maybe they put someone else's name out like before they hired him. They're like, hey, this guy, he's linked to the Bruins, and then I don't know, but. But yeah,
You
so
don't wanna
maybe it's
give Jay
Sturm. Maybe
Woodcroft
some people are
a
like
shot?
maybe less confident that he's the one now. So who knows? But maybe we'll know this week.
Gifford, I missed that. What was that?
I said you didn't want to give Jay Woodcroft another shot
Oh.
after how he ended with the Oilers. I was kind of hoping to see that happen, not just to see how he ended up with the Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, someone made a good point on this Bruins podcast I listened to, where it's like, if he did get hired after 13 games or whatever, like, you gotta think that management was already like thinking about firing him before that, like with such a short leash like that. Like it's not like you go in with being like, this is our guy, and then they go 2-11 or whatever it was. And like, all right, never mind, he's out of here. Like they probably were already thinking, like questioning whether he was the coach of the future for these guys.
Yeah. And it's such a small sample size with him as a full-time head coach. I feel like it wouldn't be the worst thing to give him another shot in a different organization, see if he can. I mean, it's a different challenge with another group. Like, you don't have a McDavid or Draisaitl to fall back on. But, yeah, I think that could play better into, like, his type of systems, or if he has systems, I guess. I imagine he does. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, look at Bruce Cassidy. His first head coaching job went terrible.
With the Caps, yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean...
He was out for a while.
I'd say pretty successful. But, yeah, that was 2002 to 2004. The third worst record in the NHL. Was this before he got... Let's see. 25 games in the season he was fired. 8-16-1. And then, yeah, it was the Blackhawks for 2 years, and then Providence, and then Boston. And, then he wins a cup, so.
Never know.
Who knows?
He's still pretty... I feel like he can't be too old either. So, I don't know what he's been doing. Yeah. I feel like he's probably in his, like, 40s or late 30s.
48.
48, okay. So, a little bit older than I would have thought. But... I don't know. We're closing in on the availabilities for this year so far, so maybe it's early firing in next season that leads to him getting hired. But yeah, we did mention earlier, Seattle officially hires Lane Lambert as their next head coach. Hence the Seattle Duds today. Which, okay, I mean, he didn't really move the needle a ton in New York when he was a full-time head coach. I know he was he an assistant with Washington, I think, and that's where he kind of jump-started things. I don't know really what to expect from him. I think the team didn't get what they wanted out of Bilesma, so just the one season in and he gets let go. Maybe there's a deeper problem there, but I guess we'll just see how he does. That's all we can really do. I know Dean is hot on Seattle now for the next up and coming team.
Yep.
Which I was trying to also jump on that, but this season, like, I had them as my one of my surprise playoff picks that didn't come to fruition.
You have Utah too?
Yeah, I also had Utah. So I swung a little early, maybe, and maybe next season is when we're talking about one or two of those teams making a push.
I mean, Seattle screwed themselves by making it to the second round so soon, because then they're like, oh, we're a real team, and then did all these moves that you make if you're like on the cusp, and they were not an on the cusp team.
No.
So that kind of set them back a bit, but they're bouncing back. They've had a few years to rebuild. They have some good young talent. So
yeah, they just need the young guys to get to that next gear if they have it. We haven't seen that a ton from Wright yet, and Beniers, like, he had some like Bergeron comparables, maybe not as far as the offense, but definitely, being a two-way player, and we'll see if he's
got the same nose too.
Yes, he definitely does have the same nose. So maybe if he grows more into the facial features of Patrice, then the skills will come with it. But I'm gonna always be rooting for him because he was from Northeastern, and that's where my brother went to school, and I think he watched him play, so that would be.
Yeah.
And I think one of his friends like knew him. So he's like 2 or 3 degrees away from Beniers, which is kind of fun.
Nice.
But yeah, still a lot to be excited about. We'll see if Lane does anything for him. That's it for coaches, though. Again, we are starting to dwindle down, but we do have a decent bit of signings, rather extensions. We're not in free agency period yet, so all of our cap, our signings are via extension. But a couple notable ones, I kind of just jotted down the ones that I had been seeing as of late. There's a bunch of entry level deals being signed this time of year as well. But let me just pull up the list here. So notable ones that I saw. So Adam Boqvist and Kyle Palmieri each get extensions. With the New York Islanders. Boqvist just a 1 year $850K per, and then Kyle Palmieri a 2 year 4.75 per extension. Little high for the 34-year-old, but not too bad. And I guess these were agreed upon in principle by Lou prior to him not returning as general manager, and so I guess the new general manager, what the heck is his name? Matthew Darsh, agreed to honor those. So, not too bad. I know Zane seemed pretty excited about them, so that's good.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, I just closed that. 2 by 1.6 for Clevin, which is fine. The most interesting one I think for me was the 6 by 2.33 for Yanni Gourde, which we were kind of chatting a little bit about in the group chat, and I've sort of turned back a little bit on it as before. I was kind of not so sure about the long term success for this deal, but I mean 2.33 is not a whole lot to deal with while they're still kind of in their cup contending window. You could say they didn't look too great.
You don't care about
year.
the long term. You do the 6 years so that you can do that low of an AAV and the player accepts it, and then the cap's going up a lot, so 2.33 years is going to be nothing. And if it is still ruining your cap for whatever reason, then you can buy it out or whatever, which I don't know how much that'll get you, but like $2.33 million is like chump change, So I think it's fine. You're paying for the window, and then afterwards you don't care what the deal is as much.
That's what I thought as well. I just looked him up. I didn't realize that he's only played 57 games over the course of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I haven't played
I think
a ton.
that's probably the thing you're worried the most. I don't think you're worried that much. Like you said, $2 million. Like you're just getting a depth player for that price. But I guess the biggest concern is he even on the ice and playing based off of the fact that he just hasn't been around much the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
I guess 6 years for an injury-prone player isn't great in that regard, but again, the price is low enough, so.
Yeah, and I mean, he hasn't really been producing a whole lot. Like, he didn't really work at the last couple of seasons with Seattle there, and he just hasn't really done a lot offensively where you're like, okay, yeah, this is the Yanni Gourde from, their cup days and before that. So you're not getting quite the same player. Yeah, I could see this one being a potential buyout or trade candidate in the future. But I think, it won't be super costly to them, again, with the cap continuing to rise. Eventually we're going to see, the entry level contracts be a minimum of $1 million. It'll probably take a little bit of time, like probably still looking at 10-15 years before that, but slowly but surely that'll happen. Other notable ones, I saw 4x4 for Noah Cates, which I think could work. Some Flyers fans were not super thrilled by it, but I think he could absolutely grow into that deal and come out of it pretty strong. He's 26, so it's a bit of a bet. Like if he really doesn't doesn't shape into anything, it's gonna kind of be a dud. But you could probably still move it. Just looking at some of his numbers from last year. I mean, 37 points in 78 games, 16 goals, 21 assists. Not terrible, and he played most of the year. So it could work out really well. That's pretty much it. Again, not anything super crazy, and it'll really be the free agent frenzy is when the exciting deals are gonna be dealt.
Y'all can mention Forbort.
Fine, yeah, I'll throw in there since that just happened today. A 1x2 for former Boston Bruin Derek Forbort to stick
Glad
around.
they wanted him back.
Yeah, me too. Again, $2 million. If you can bury him in the AHL, and it's fine. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the this Buffalo link here. Cause when we were talking about other type of hirings, that Jarmo Kekalainen, former Columbus Blue Jackets general manager, has been hired as a senior advisor, reporting to Adams, and will be involved in all areas of the hockey department, according to their little post here.
And former Clarkson Golden Knight. And
also
former
true.
Boston Bruin.
That's true.
And former Ottawa Senator. So he's got
There
a
you
lot
go.
of connections to this hockey group.
Is there any other hockey player who has played for all three of those teams? Probably not.
Well, he didn't play for Columbus,
Probably
did he?
No, I said Clarkson, Boston.
Oh, Clarkson. Yeah.
Yeah, Clarkson, Boston, and Ottawa. So he's
I'd
all
say-
got 3 of the...
I mean, unless
Because Boro got 2 of them.
I was gonna say Boro, he didn't play for Boston, did he? Yeah, I don't think so. I'd say that's pretty unlikely. I mean, are there even like 50 Clarkson grads that have played for the NHL club? It's not
Yeah, I don't know.
too many. I'm trying to think back to, because they would show it before all the home games. They would have the graphics. They're like, Clarkson, we've won like this many
right.
ECAC titles. We've had this many NHL players or alumni, 6 active on the in the NHL or whatever. They had some stats like that, but I don't remember the exact number. So I mean, it's good to see Kekalainen back in the league. I guess we'll see if he brings anything. It's just a little strange because Buffalo's looking for a winning culture, looking to make the playoffs, and I mean, it's not like Columbus has done anything in the playoffs ever. They have a couple historic wins, just the one actual win in the playoffs with the Lightning series, and then they got the upset against Toronto in the bubble, but then they didn't beat the Lightning that year. So I don't know, a little weird.
I have 28 Golden Knights who have played in the NHL.
28,
Are
yeah.
you on collegehockeynews.com?
I'm on just Wikipedia, which, I mean, not necessarily the greatest source, but usually you can find interesting stuff like that. But that's what I'm seeing.
You said 28?
28, yeah.
That's how many skaters I see on here, but there's also 2 goalies.
Ooh.
Oh, so maybe 30?
Yeah, and this website's nice because you can click each link and it brings you to the hockey reference page so I can quickly see all the teams they played for.
Oh, nice. What are you
But there are a
manually
lot of-
checking 30 players?
I might.
Okay, well, we'll leave Dean to scrub through, I guess.
There's actually a fair amount of Stanley Cups, actually, amongst the Clarkson grads. Or
Willie
not
Mitchell.
necessarily grads, but Clarkson players. There's
Clarkson alum Nico Sturm looking to get his second one.
Yeah.
there's 7. Not 7 players, but
7 cups.
One guy has 2 cups. Willie Mitchell, who played defense for
For the
a bunch of
Kings.
teams. Yeah, he for the Kings amongst other teams, but definitely the Kings is where he got those. I believe where he got those cups. Actually, technically, he's on the Florida. It says he's on the Florida Panthers right now. Is that right?
Willie
No,
Mitchell?
never mind. He was on the no, never mind. He was on the Florida Panthers.
I was like,
He retired in
Yeah, like he's pretty
2016.
old.
yeah, I don't remember him from Clarkson or from the NHL. Yeah, I don't know if I can name another Cup champion alumni besides Nico Sturm.
You should be able to name at least one other one, and that's because he played for your team.
Sheldon Rempel?
Yep.
Is he on the Cup? I didn't think he was.
I want to say he is, but I don't know that for a fact. I don't know if what the best way to fact check that is.
I don't think he made it. But yeah, Sheldon Rempel played a cup of coffee in the league. Played a little bit for the Kings, a little bit for Carolina. I think he might have gotten into a game or two, and then briefly with Vegas. I liked him when we saw him in Clarkson. But yeah, I don't think he really played in the finals or much at all. If in the playoffs, I don't think he did for Vegas rather.
So there's only one other player that played for Boston in Clarkson, and also it is 28 because they have all the list of 28 players, and then separately they recount the goalies again, so to put their stats, I guess. So Don Silvestri, he played 3 games for the Bruins in the 1984-85 season at age 23.
Good for you, Don.
Oh, there you go.
There's
Got
your answer.
No, 0 wins, 0 losses, and 2 ties in 3 games somehow. 9th rounder.
9th rounder. That's Clarkson talent, baby.
He just turned 64 yesterday.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
That can be the podcast title.
No, God.
Happy birthday, Don.
Oh, my God. Every week we find somebody else to wish a happy birthday. No, we're not doing that.
Hey, 885 save percentage in NHL? Not bad. Well, actually, in the 80s, it probably, I don't know what the average goaltending save percentage was back then, but he made it, so that,
I did confirm Rempel is not on the Cup.
I was pretty sure he wasn't, yeah.
He's only played like 21 games in the pros.
Yeah, is he still in the Vegas organization? I don't think he is.
I don't think he might not be with any organization right now.
He might be in Europe or something. Well, if you ever wanted to know, we have all the random stats for Clarkson players that were on the team in like the late 2010s. We got you covered there. We also have some interesting news for players looking to either retire or not retire, with Jonathan Toews looking to come back to the NHL. He never officially retired, but just due to injury, and then he went and did that like retreat thing. Well, it's not really a retreat.
Holistic medicine.
Yeah, it sounded pretty brutal. I was reading like some article like with quotes from him about what they had to go through, and it was just like pretty painful, pretty torturous. Like, you're kind of always hungry, you barely eat anything, and then they like pound into your back with all these, I don't know, didn't seem like a pleasant experience overall.
It's like when you do eat, it's like straight butter or something was one of the, like, I forget what.
Yeah, it was like ghee or whatever. Like just basically like fat and oils. It did not sound like it, but clearly.
Yeah, it was a GQ article from end of last year.
Yeah.
Though he opened up about his healing trip to India and whether he'll play again. And yeah, I guess I can see if I find some of the quotes, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. Oh, I guess his article's paywalled, so never mind. But yeah, there was some weird stuff going on. But, placebo or not, maybe it helped, so good for him.
I was picturing an Aaron Rodgers like retreat, but that sounds a lot worse than what I saw Aaron Rodgers go through.
Into the darkness retreat. Yeah.
Yeah, he just did like a couple days, like 2 or 3 days completely in the dark, and then he was in like one of those like float chambers for a while, and then just like a
Sensory
lot of like
deprivation.
dancing and a lot of meditation and like dancing and relaxation. But like that sounds a lot worse what Taves went through.
Clearly, he wants to come back to the league, and he will do whatever it takes to get back. That's the kind of pain he's going through.
Did he
to
sell
make a
his
return.
soul in the process?
He probably had to if he's got to get another crack here. So he could be an interesting potential free agent for a team looking to give a spark to maybe a younger group. We're looking at Buffalo, looking at Columbus, looking at Chicago. I don't know about them, but yeah, he could make a fascinating resurgence, or he could just kind of peter out. I don't know. But he'll be a story to keep an eye on. And then going the other way, so Jesper Fast retires from the NHL at 33. He did not play at all for the Hurricanes this year. He had some neck issues, and after a decent career, I think it was like around 700 games played, he does retire from the league due to injury probably, and just wasn't gonna be worth it. So all the best to Foss in retirement. I don't think they were really hoping if they brought him back next year that was going to be the last sort of piece that they needed to get over the hump or anything like that. But it is tough to see depth pieces go. He had been in Carolina for a decent bit. So yeah, again, all the best to him with retirement.
Good on him for hanging it up. I know I've seen like a lot of players who just like drag out the recovery process, hoping they can get back, and it's just like a grueling like 2-3 year process, and it just doesn't net out anywhere.
Hey, it worked for
Good on him.
Landeskog.
Well, true. So there are exceptions to the rule,
Yeah.
but in general, I would say good on him for being able to hang it up, because I know it's so hard for a lot of these players to do it. So to not put them through that like grueling process of working so hard for a couple of years to try to recover and still not getting it done.
Yeah, and you got to prioritize your health. And I mean, a neck injury is different than what Landeskog had, a knee injury. Like, you can kind of push through that rehab a little more, and like the risk of re-injury, I guess, I mean, it's probably still possible, but like the long-term effects of that, which are still bad, aren't as bad as long-term neck injuries. So like maybe that weighs in on the fact, like, neck and head, you're like, I'm just not going to risk it because I don't want to like not be able to turn my head when I'm 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what kind of neck injury or what neck surgery he had, right? Because like Eichel's, been through that process as well. And when Eichel did it, obviously, like half of the reason why there was so much talk about his instance was because of the surgery that he elected to eventually do. So I wonder if there's any similar circumstances there.
Yeah, I can't imagine Faust would do the fusion one, which I think is the one that like causes permanent like mobility, or like limits your mobility slightly. Like after seeing what Eichel did, I feel like he would have copied that if it was the same injury. But yeah, I don't know the details on that.
Me either. But obviously, it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough opportunities to overcome that, and felt that it was best for him and his family and all that to retire. So again, yep. We'll continue to see veteran players wrapping it up and new players coming in. And I did see ahead of the game one tomorrow that Corey Perry was talking about how he has no plans to retire after this season, and he fully expects to be back in the league next year for his 21st NHL season. So that's pretty crazy. He's made quite an impact. I think he's got 7 goals in the playoffs so far, which I think I misspoke last week when I said that he had just scored his first. I think it was just his first of the series, perhaps.
Mm.
I mean, why would you quit when you're guaranteed, making the Stanley Cup Finals every year, right? Like he just knows whatever team I'm on, I'm gonna make the finals, so you might as well keep playing until he doesn't.
Looks like
Maybe they'll win one of them.
Yeah, I mean, enough cracks at it. You gotta get one of these wins here. I would think, anyways. But yeah, he has scored seven goals so far this year in the playoffs. Which, yeah, at 40 years of age, that's pretty impressive and pretty helpful for a team that we're always talking about lack of depth scoring.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he'll be a big story. A couple other players. I know Brent Burns is also looking down the barrel of retirement. He's 40 as well. He's the only player pre-lockout who's still in the league, the 05. So he had played a couple of games in 03, 04. So yeah, he's the last one. Be interesting to see if he comes back. It sounds like Brind'Amour would definitely want to have him back next year. It'll just be a matter of if Burns wants to come back and if management, wants there to be a reunion, which I haven't heard anything from Burns as far as like not wanting to come back, but you never know if like he's not really feeling like he can play at his best or if he's not contributing as much as he thinks that he can. You never know. There's a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
A lot of factors, rather. Let's also quickly touch on this. We've been kind of going over the awards as they've been announced, and so we did get the word that Alexander Barkov wins his second straight Selke trophy. This is his third one all time. So, yeah, pretty impressive.
He's the new Bergeron. Just like, we'll just give it to this guy. He's pretty good defensively.
We called him underrated for so long. Now he gets the fruits of his labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling him that anymore.
Until Matty Beniers takes over the reins.
Right. Patty Beniers, I think you mean.
There we go.
That has a nice ring to it.
It looks like he's the sixth player to have won the award 3 times, which is kind of crazy seeing as the award has only existed since 77.
Yeah, they like to recycle this one. As opposed to like the Jack Adams, which is the opposite. Like, well, look, same coach can't get it 2 years in a row. That would be crazy.
Yeah. And some like long-standing successful coaches just never win it because it's like this is for the up-and-coming coaches or the teams that were supposed to be shit this year and then they weren't shit.
It's the latter. It's like, we all thought this team was bad, so the only reason they were good must have been the coaching.
Yeah. So just like, yep, there you go, give it to him. I mean, like John Cooper has never won the Jack Adams Award. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, how seriously are we taking this award if the longest tenured coach in the league has never won it and he has been to 3 straight finals, won 2 of them, like President's trophies. He went to finals in 2015 as well. Like,
he probably doesn't care.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to care a little bit, even though his legacy is obviously cemented. It's like, really? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm sure he's probably covered it before and been like, yeah, I really don't care that much as long as I'm getting paid good money, I'm winning cups and having fun and all that.
What did you guys think about the rest of the voting for the Selke?
I didn't even see it.
Here, I can share it with you guys.
I did take a look at it, but I didn't have any like major conclusions.
I found it on Reddit.
I was gonna say I just dropped it in. Jack Eichel for Vegas did get 5 first place votes for 5th, which I think I saw posted somewhere that's the 3rd time a Vegas player has been in the top 5 in the running for it.
Just for the Selke?
And I also thought it was interesting just looking at the list. Cirelli and Hischier 3 and 4 I thought was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. It's also interesting that 1 and 2 are on the same team. Like that doesn't happen often. Like I wonder,
Yeah,
like so if
Reinhardt.
Barkov isn't on there, like does Reinhardt win it? Like are they stealing votes from each other? You know?
Yeah,
They-
that's true.
They probably are. I think they do have a breakdown of all the voting by who voted for it. I haven't really checked that out. But I have heard good things about Sorelli's two-way game. I guess I didn't realize he was, that worthy. Like 29 first place votes tied with Reinhardt. That's nothing to sneeze at. And yeah, obviously Florida, the state dominating in this category. And then yeah, he sure has been touted for a while, but and probably gets a little bit of a boost because Hughes wasn't playing this year, so maybe he just had to elevate his role a little bit more. Well, Hughes played some of the season, but yeah, these are fun.
Looking at
we'll break some more
the
of them down.
the first place votes too. Like some guy was like Marcus Foligno, that's my number 1 pick.
I know you definitely see the biases come through for some of these. Like I think PK Subban had a number 1 vote for Heischer, and like yeah, you get some of these other picks where it's like it doesn't really make a ton of sense, but sure, why not?
Also, 4 Panthers made the voting.
That is pretty impressive. Lundell with 1 5th place.
Hey,
vote.
Elias Lindholm got a 3rd place or a
I
4th
was-
place vote.
I was about to say Boston showed up just barely
Yeah.
made the list.
Logan O'Connor, I think, is super underrated defensively. Like his advanced stats, he like led the league in like I forget some weird random advanced stat that I'm sure these people don't really pay attention or care about, but like
Yeah,
led the league. Logan O'Connor.
that's crazy. He's like a 4th
Yeah.
liner.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So someone recognized him at least with the 3rd place vote.
Yeah, that's good.
Same with McKinnon. They tied. It's funny.
Wow, that's yeah, that's exciting. You're like, oh, I'm right next to McKinnon on the voting. That's probably not gonna happen too many times in my career. No offense to Logan, but
They're probably not tied on the heart.
no, I don't think so. I don't. Somehow I doubt that. Huh. Yeah, well, as we keep getting more awards announced, we'll get more breakdowns on the award winners and all that. But again, more of an off-season thing, and they like to sprinkle in the results every once in a while.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, aren't they? They're trying to do the like viral moments thing for these awards, but I don't know if they did it for the Selke or not. They're like
They did.
supposed to do something and like surprise him. Was there some video or something? Because
Yeah,
they're not
there
doing a
was a
very good job
video.
making it viral. Because I'm tuned in on the hockey scene, believe it or not. I didn't see anything about
I'm
it.
even more tuned apparently because it did stumble upon my feed. They surprised him. He normally goes to this one Florida hospital and children's hospital, and so they brought in the King Clancy, and like they had some of the kids from the hospital come in, and then they're like, oh, we're also here with the Selke trophy, and he's like, oh, thank you. I wasn't able to stop by the hospital this year, so I appreciate you guys coming by. And so there wasn't any like big reaction from Barkov. I wouldn't really expect it, but they did at least try to do one of those viral moment sort of things.
So we'll see how the other ones turn out.
Yeah. I mean, he's also won it before, so it's not like he's like, yeah, I probably deserved it this year. So
I figured.
I just assumed that I would get it. Yeah, but thank you, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what other ambushes we get. Somebody's just going to the bathroom, and then they're like, oh, here's the Hart Trophy. Get out of here.
What's he doing in the stall?
Yeah. Yeah, just walk into the bathroom at Rogers Place and like, oh, there's the Willie O'Ree Award, or I don't know, whatever. I'm trying to think of another award name that we haven't already done. Vesna, I guess. Do you want to do Dean's Den now, or do you want to talk about the player protection lists?
We can jump into Dean's Den. Why not?
Time for Dean's Den.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a graphic this week. No,
with new
off-season
graphic.
Off season is the time for new
Yep.
graphics.
All right, I think that's fine.
Sounds good.
So we lost 8-2.
Oh, shoot.
Did you have Stuart Skinner in that?
No, but also I have two videos to share. And one of them was one of the best saves that probably the best save of this summer season. I know we're only 4 games in, but
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. I was gonna say I thought what you just showed was the save. I was like, he didn't really do anything.
so it was like behind him and the little 180 spin and just like it was just sitting on the goal line. He's kind of swatted out of there. Oh, look at that freeze frame.
How does he? How does that not get cleaned up there? I feel like the positioning is perfect from the forward to get that done.
Well, also, so like this should just be a clear goal, but he flubs this. Like this is like lobbed into the air, and then just a little slow. You know,
There was just
we're not the quickest out there.
No other
Yeah, a
guys
little
out
slow
there.
on the follow up.
And then I also got a breakaway that I fell down on that I thought you guys might enjoy. So.
Where are you, Dean?
I don't know why I try to point with my finger. I'm that one. I'm the one on the breakaway. Almost get up and then fall again and then send it to no one.
Hey, but you took the puck with you though. That's a win.
Yeah, there's probably someone up at the blue line, but we still got possession back. So
Little Daniel Jones moment there for you.
yeah, right at the 1 yard line. That's all I got this week. Not many highlights for an 8-2 loss, but there you go. We're now 2-2. And also the person who scored the 2 goals was the other center switching out with me, so now he leads the team with 5 goals.
Oh, Dean,
So,
you're gonna have
shout
to pick it
out
up.
to Shane. I got someone to compete with.
All
Where does
right.
that position you? Second place?
Yeah. So he has 5 goals, 6 points. I have 2 goals, 4 points, and then we have a couple people with 3 and 2 points.
So point per game kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've only played in 3 of the games, so he's also only played in 3 of the games. So we're even on that regard too.
We gotta get Shane on here. Get the details about what Dean's like in the locker room and
There we go.
And
I was saying, I think I was telling you, our new goalie puts up the GoPro behind the net, so I bet he has a good camera view of his save. So I could have asked him for the footage. But the team we just played and lost to, they're 3-0-1. They're leading the division.
Oh, okay.
So
I mean,
they
8-2. They know what they're doing.
Yep.
Dang. Well, it's still early. It's summer league, and
less important. Yeah.
Things will get more intense here as the season progresses. I believe in the Ice Monkeys.
You know, I have a guarantee that we will make the playoffs.
So how many
Put it on the wall.
Are there and how many make the playoffs?
8 teams in the division. 8 teams make the playoffs.
That's why we have.
And it's just a 1-8-2-4, like or 2-1-8-2-7.
Come on, we need the bold prediction of where the team ends up at the end of the season. Are you like top half?
I bet we end up top half. Yeah. I'd say 4th, just barely top half. We're in 5th right now.
You guys were in 5th in Winter League, right? Or 4th?
But I think 4th or around there. Yeah.
It was one of those.
If the cutoff line was 4, you'd still make the playoffs that way. So you take
That's
those.
true. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We will, maybe. Let's talk about the player protection list for the PWHL expansion draft. Those were just released at noon today. So the first 3 players for each team were protected. They'll have the option to protect a 4th player once at least 2 players are relinquished, whether it's through the signing window or the expansion draft. So I'm just going to quickly run through the protection list. So for the Boston Fleet, Aaron Frankel, goalie, Megan Keller, D, and Alina Mueller, forward. So I don't have a problem with any of those off the rip. Minnesota Frost, Kendall Coyne Schofield, forward, Taylor Heisey, forward, Lee Steckline, defenseman. So no goalie protected there. And this is the cup-winning team. We've got.
Do we want to talk about it as we go, or do the whole list and then discuss?
You know what? Yeah, maybe we should just break it down, I guess, by team. So it's.
Okay. I mean, I don't have anything for Boston. But...
Oh, okay. Well, I think the Frost could be a little bit interesting. We also have the players eligible for the 4th protection pick, exclusive signing window, expansion draft selection. So we have some names here for ones that didn't get protected that we can certainly discuss.
I mean, for Minnesota, we kind of talked before we started recording. Like, we weren't sure if they would protect one of the goalies because, I mean, the playoffs, you had essentially your backup goalie who played incredible, and then you have your starter who got hurt. So it's like, well, if they're both really good goalies, you can afford losing one. I mean, unless the two that they take are both their goalies, like, I guess that's possible. That would be pretty crazy. I want both the Minnesota Frost goalies.
Like, yeah, you guys, you're not gonna have a goalie prospect anymore. Like, we're taking Rooney, we're taking Hensley, we're taking everybody.
Yeah, like, I don't know how that works, but I guess they could do that
If they really wanted to, I guess they could. Yeah.
But yeah, that was like, again, I wasn't super surprised because like you only protect 3, but that was the one thing where it's like, well, definitely the Frost are losing a goalie.
Probably. I mean, there'll be some other tantalizing goalie options, but I guess for the Fleet, I'm just looking at the eligible players that didn't get protected. Look, like Hillary Knight, again, a little bit older, so I kind of understand why she wouldn't have gotten selected. Jamie Lee Rattray as well. And then for the Frost, like Britta Curl, Salam, she was a pretty big performer in this year's playoffs. Sophie Jacques, strong defenseman, and Grace Sumwinkle as well, another solid forward. Like, there's some other decent names here. Obviously, a bunch of cup winners, but those are the names that stuck out for me. And then the Victoire, so they protect Anne-Renee Debienne, their goalie, their captain, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and her wife, Laura Stacy. So Owen absolutely nailed the 3 protections. That was what he was thinking. He's like, well, you can't protect Poulin and then just unprotect Stacy. Like, that would just not work.
Do you think Stacy is the 3rd best player on the team?
I don't know if she is. I'm looking. I mean, maybe you would protect Ambrose over Stacy. But it's so tough. You gotta, unless you're splitting, one position for each of the first 3 protections. Like, yeah, you could potentially expose a solid, like, your best option at one of these other key positions. So it is tough to balance that. But we'll see. Yeah, who gets signed, who gets drafted in the expansion draft, all that sort of stuff. Let's see. So for the Sirens, so Sarah Fillier, obviously they had to protect her future franchise forward and all that. Ella Shelton, happy about that, and Mika Zandi Hart, another defenseman. So they're the only team that protected 2 defensemen, which I thought was kind of interesting. With their first 3 picks, I mean, we'll see. I'd imagine their 4th pick they won't do that. Another defenseman, but that was kind of interesting. They don't have like a ton of standout names that I was like maybe Alex Carpenter, Abby Rock, another name, and then like Schroeder, the goalie, but it's so tough, and there's probably better goalie options that are more tantalizing. You're more likely to lose. I'll just keep rolling here. We got for the Charge, so Emily Clark, Gwyneth Phillips, who was the backup goalie who ended up taking over the role there for Mashmeyer, and Ronja Savolainen, defenseman. So they go the one forward, one goalie, one defenseman route. I mean, I think I don't know a ton about Savolainen, whether or not that's a great pick, but I think Clark and Phillips being protected, that makes a lot of sense. They were the most dominant players for the Charge on their way to the finals. But Brianne Jenner being exposed is kind of tantalizing. She's the captain, like that could be a good potential signing for Seattle or Vancouver. Jocelyn LaRocque as well, and then Emmerance Mashmeyer being exposed. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. That's pretty much. I mean, I don't know a ton, but that's what's sticking out to me. And then for the Scepters, Renata Foss, defenseman, Blair Turnbull, forward, and Daryl Watts, forward. They're all pretty good. Not a huge complaint there. Maybe you protect Kristen Campbell because she's a pretty solid goaltender, but it's going to be so tough. Savannah Harmon doesn't get protected. Got the Clarkson connection there, not protection. Sarah Nurse also being exposed. Emma Malte being exposed. So there's some pretty tantalizing options. Just scrolling through, I'm like, oh yeah, Lauren Gable as well for Boston. So lots of good names here that could be going.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know much about all the players, but like I'm still excited to watch the expansion draft at the very least, assuming it's at a time that I can.
No, it definitely should be interesting. So it's 4 players.
Yeah, so
that go for each team.
It's 3 initial players that get protected, and then after two players have been relinquished, then you can protect that 4th player, and then it's gonna be it'll be 12 team rosters. So the expansion draft will feature Seattle and Vancouver selecting a minimum of 7 players each until each has reached a 12-player roster. 24 players and 6 teams, so 4 players each. They did the PWHL did put out a little video kind of breaking down all of the article and the rules and stuff, but we still haven't gotten info on when we'll know the draft order for either the expansion draft or the entry draft, because we don't know where Vancouver and Seattle will be drafting in that. And then, of course, the order for the expansion draft is yet to be determined. So that's what we have now. We do have the lists, and then over the next 5 days is when the exclusive signing window begins. So starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow until June 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern is where the 2 expansion teams will have that 5-day window to sign maximum of 5 players, and they don't have to sign anybody if they don't want to, but I would be a little surprised if one of the teams didn't sign anybody. I feel like this is a good opportunity.
Well, so if each expansion team drafts 12 and can sign 5, that's only 17 players, right?
I'd imagine that they will fill the rest of their rosters out with free agency or the draft, like the entry draft. Yeah. So just for the for just the expansion portion of things, they're getting 12 players from the current PWHL.
Like NHL expansion was enough for a full team, right?
Yeah.
But there's also 32 teams or 30 or 31 at the time to take from, so it's a little different.
Yeah, a little different, and then you're obviously drafting, like you only have 23 active roster spots, so.
Yeah, and you get one from each team, so yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to watch, just, in comparison to the NHL expansion draft that we've seen recently, like how much more of a shakeup this is for the entire league. And you could definitely see, the standings, not reverse, but you could see some massive swings one way or the other. Versus like, I know there was a lot of complaints about even how like the Vegas or Seattle drafts went, but like ideally when you're losing one player, that's not really the end of the world because you were able to protect so many players that like a Connor McDavid's just never gonna be, taken out from under you.
Yep, have to agree. So yeah, we'll see. We still don't have details yet on where you can view that, but it is June 9th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if Dean has a game during that time or what. I don't know if.
Oh, it's a Monday. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Yeah,
Is the
should be available to watch that.
I wonder if the Cup Finals are going on during that day or not. Let's see. Oops. June.
Yes, at
Yep.
8 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well,
They're competing with the Cup final.
Well, it'll probably start during first intermission. so
Yeah,
it's not
that's
gonna
what I was
start at
thinking.
8:30, it'll be like 8:45. And
so yeah, they will have
if
that
they
to
were,
compete with.
if they really cared, they would just cut to it during the intermission report.
Yeah, that would be nice. I did see, just a news item on the NHL website about the expansion draft for the PWHL, so they're at least putting some info out about it. They're not really, doing a ton to promote the PWHL, but they at least had some little announcement. It would be cool if they did that. Like they didn't even announce the PWHL All-Star game during the All-Star festivities last year, where it was like they didn't even mention after, what was it, the skills competition had just wrapped up, and it's like, okay, in an hour or so, like stick around and you'll see this. And nope, they didn't say anything. So
Yeah.
it's too bad.
And it doesn't really make any sense to me because if you're talking about like one of the other big leagues, that makes sense. Like you're competing for fans, but ultimately, like with the size of the PWHL, you're not really. I don't think you're really competing for fans. All of the fans that I've seen who I know are watching the PWHL are just that's like supplementary to what you're already doing with the NHL. And like if you promote it, that's just another way to bring in more fans, right? Like hopefully it's getting more women interested in hockey, and then therefore maybe they come and support the NHL as well too. Obviously, like anybody can get interested in either, but I just feel like especially when you have those younger girls who are seeing somebody who looks like them playing in the PWHL, then it's like okay, that's a way for you to not siphon, but like get more fans into your league through another league. But I don't know why the NHL doesn't necessarily view it that way.
Yeah, I
A lot of things I question about the league.
Yeah.
How they do it.
Yeah, they got some questionable decisions, but they made $7 billion this year, so what do I know, I guess. Looking like the Charlotte Checkers are gonna move on. There's a minute 24 remaining in the third period. They are up 3-2 on Laval. So yeah, they are on their way to making the Calder Cup finals to face off against Abbotsford or Texas. Guess it's not completely
I heard
done
from
yet.
an expert that they're crushing it these playoffs. So
I know they are really strong. They got a bunch of five goal games, and that's what we know.
Yeah.
That's all I can give you. I wonder if any of the Hurricanes players joined. Oh wait, is Charlotte with them? Because I know that they had a little bit of a weird thing. Did they? I think they re-signed with the Chicago Wolves. I think is what they ended up doing. So I don't remember who the Checkers are affiliated with then. Let's see. See if I recognize any names. Rasmus Asplund, I've heard of him. Will Lockwood, Mackenzie Entwistle. Oh, these are. Oh, it's for Nashville. Zach Dolpe, hey.
I think is it Nashville? Because I thought they were with the Panthers.
Are they Panthers?
Let me look it up.
Well then.
ECHL website says the Panthers.
Oh, okay. I guess I got that wrong then.
But I know like that ECHL might not necessarily be up to date. So let's see what the actual site says here.
Oh, maybe this is a different Zach Dolpe than I was thinking of.
Yes, they are the top minor league affiliate of the Florida Panthers.
Okay. Jesse
So the Panthers are
Pugliarvi
winning
on this
at
group.
multiple levels.
Yeah, wow. But they didn't make the ECHL finals this time around.
It's true. I mean, to imagine that though, but they're really winning at all. Well, they're still winning at all three levels. For you to get your ECHL team that far is still impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, maybe they won't be bad by the time the Bruins have their first overall or first round pick. 2028.
Yeah, because it's the top 10 protected.
Well,
it's 2026, right? If it's not protected. Like
I'm trying to remember now.
Doesn't move.
I was thinking for whatever reason that it was going to get pushed back now, but there were so many conditions on that I can't keep them all straight.
Well, we know that it's a first round pick. We know that for sure.
Yeah. Yep, that's what matters.
And I'm pretty sure it would be a 2026 unless it's a top 10 pick. Why did I look at Florida when I should have looked at Boston? Because they are the ones that have the pick. That would have been the thing to do. Let's take another look here. 2026 top 5 protected. Oh, that's for the Brandon Carlo trade. I don't. Oh, it's still showing. Oh, it's a 2027 first round pick. It would be, and then it would be 2028 if Florida does not own their own 2027 first round pick. Boston instead receives Florida's 2028 first round pick. Interesting. So yeah, you got a little bit of time.
I didn't even remember that condition. I don't think I had even ever read that. So.
I didn't remember that either. Just gives them the opportunity to trade it, basically. They're like, look, you'll still get a first. We just kind of want to play around with it. And they always trade their first-round picks, it seems. So
yeah,
I would not be surprised if they dealt with it, especially if they're still competing, for a cup in 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, they probably could. But, yeah, it looks like the unofficial final is in, so Charlotte does move on. And we'll see who they face off against. I don't know anything about if they've won anything before either. So I didn't do my prep work today for these. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot. I gotta check these. These are the leagues. Maybe I'll tune in for some of the finals games. We'll see how they conflict with with the NHL schedule. Of course, gotta prioritize that. There's just no getting around it. Maybe if I was going to one of these games in person, it would be a little bit different. But yeah, I'm not going to.
The Thunder were in the finals.
Yeah, if I don't know, Utica or Rochester or Syracuse, I guess, made it. Those would be like the closest AHL teams for me, probably. Or Providence or Bridgeport. I don't know. There's a couple different options, I guess, but I don't think I'd really be going out of my way. I don't really have an AHL team. Like, I just root for Henderson, I guess, since they're Vegas' affiliate. That's pretty much it. I've only seen one AHL game, which was Utica, so I guess them. I don't know. Anyways, well, I think we're pretty much wrapped up here. Any final remarks, guys, or we'll close this one.
I think so. It's a pretty long episode for only having like 10 things on the list.
I know. I was a little surprised. I was like, wow, actually, we're kind of going for a bit here.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate you tuning in every week or every once in a while, whenever you can. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We do have the emails as well, and the phone line. Oh, I forgot to mention, if we do end up getting any of the predictions for clip video. We asked some of our other guests to send in videos of their predictions. Maybe we'll have inserted those at the beginning of the episode. Who knows? We'll see if we actually get any. But yeah, I guess you probably already saw them by now.
Probably.
All right.
Maybe.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah.
See ya. Uh-oh, wrong mic again. Another
Yeah.
out, another outtake.
I've seen this before.